Hey, look out. It's Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
On Zoom and on the radio, therapist, life coach, Dr. Jill Kirschner, one of our favorite guests. Dan says our favorite guest.
Yes.
Flattering.
You can never go wrong with an Aussie, so it's great to have you back. It's great to have you back.
We can say anything and we get away with it.
That's right. That's right. How are you? First of all, I know that the Bionic Man, Steve, your husband, had a hip replacement, and I hear that he's moving faster than ever.
He certainly is, with the help of a walker. Gives him 4 Soon he'll be graduating to the cane, I'm sure.
Well, I've been
faster than a speeding bullet with a walker.
Yeah. Watch
like
out,
that.
everyone. He can use it as a weapon at times. Like, get out of the way, lift it up.
Well, we wanted to catch up with you a bit to see how you're feeling. I know you have to be isolated, just kind of keep away from people so you can stay healthy, which that's what we want you to do. I did notice that you've gotten more into gardening, I guess, and you finished a quilt. And
Yeah, I've cost Steve more money than ever. He sort of laughingly said, I don't know how much I've spent on plants. And, then there's when you're learning to garden, well, you learn as you go along. So I've killed a few. So then he's had to go out and get more. But it's really fun. As I said, as you noticed, I finished a quilt that I actually started when the boys were just toddlers. And now they're 32 and 33.
It's been a labor of love, hasn't it?
It has. It travelled all the way from Australia. So that was the first thing. And then, as it started to get warmer, because, when you can't do much, you can either just sit around and watch TV and read, which, there's nothing wrong with that in moderation. But I wanted to do something active, and I also respond in a more positive way to sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided that, you know what, we've got a garden with not many flowers in it because we did a renovation last year on the house and hadn't got round to do the garden. So Steve's a great planner as far as seeing where things go. And I did all the digging and the planting, and it was really fun. The more I did it, the more I was like, Steve, you need to go and get more plants. And so he did. It must have looked very funny as people walked down our street. You probably noticed that with this whole virus situation, there's a lot more people out walking their dogs. And I love that because also being out in the front yard gives me access to people to talk to them. Without doing anything that's unhealthy for me. But Steve would sit on the front porch and I would be the one out digging, breaking up the ground, planting. And, I thought, I wonder if everyone walking by thinks he's really lazy. He's got his wife out doing all the hard work. But before surgery, he virtually couldn't walk.
Wow.
So, I don't know about you. I mean, you're guys, but flowers, watching something grow, it's just therapeutic. Keeps you happy.
Awesome. Dr. Jill, on Zoom and on the radio, you mentioned before we started that Steve, of course, is an accountant and that he'll be accounting until he's done, until forever for him. And he's probably has to because of all the flowers and everything that you're putting on the bottom line here.
I mean, the next hobby I come up with might be even more expensive. So he'll have to keep on working.
Now, I don't know if we've asked you this before. I think it was early on when we talked to you, and it was just on the phone and not on Zoom. But when everybody is, when we're out of this, as far as health wise, the panic, the virus, and you can't get sick, what's the first thing you're going to do in public, you think?
Still be very careful.
Mm.
I think a lot of us will be like that because we've been contained for a period of time and all of a sudden we're given freedom. But I think some will just leap right back in to normal, regular life. Others of us probably will go more slowly, because even though life will get back to normal, the virus will be still in places. It's fake, it's a virus. So, but what will I do? I think when I feel okay, I'll probably go out to a restaurant with Steve, and I'll ask to be set far away from everyone else, which I tend to do a little bit even now in normal times, just being aware that I don't know if the person next to me is healthy. Get back into church.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I'll probably be slower than most people, knowing that, I am compromised because of low immunity. And probably see some close girlfriends. I have managed to stay in contact with most of my girlfriends, as I think I said to you last time, by doing coffee FaceTimes. And I just finished one before talking to you, where we were saying, she lives in Amsterdam. We were saying, you've got to make yourself do these things, because many of us have got lulled into this lifestyle of, we don't go to church because we can't. We can't go to the mall or the shops because we can't. We can't go for a coffee with a friend because we can't. And so it could be easy for some to just keep in that isolated lifestyle. And yet we're going to have to we're going to have to pull on that muscle of discipline that we've got to make ourselves get back into normal life again.
That is so good.
Yeah. Talking to Dr. Jill here. Now, Jill, for those of us who tend to get a little depressed when we're stuck at home, not being able to have people contact, obviously it's been 8 or 9 weeks now. Some of us have been able to work through it, but for those who haven't, who are just feeling just completely empty and depressed inside, how do you help them? How do you turn them in the right direction?
Okay. I'll admit, a few weeks ago, when the stay at home got extended for me till mid-June, I actually cried. Because I thought, oh my gosh, that's another nearly 6 to 8 weeks. And I was like, I think the very first thing is you've got to admit to someone that you're feeling that way. But even more importantly is that the person who is on the hearing end can't just give some glib answer, such as quote a scripture at them, or say, you'll get over it, or, try and make it positive. Like, well, at least you can get out, or, something like that, that actually usually causes the person who's feeling depressed to shut down even more.
Yeah.
If they're a failure. So I think, as I said, the very first thing the depressed person needs to do is just admit it. I admitted to Steve straight away. It's like, he could see it because I just started to cry. And then, I talk about discipline a lot. I thought, okay, this is for my safety. It's not a punishment. And so I just sat down and thought, okay, well, this obviously is a necessary thing. And then I started thinking ahead to, well, I'll just have to invent some new things that I got to do for the next 6 to 8 weeks. The things to avoid are staying in bed, okay, in the morning, set yourself a routine. And then secondly, after not sleeping in the morning, is not to develop that tendency of staying up really late at night.
Yes.
Because you might be playing video games all night. You might just watch TV all night. You might be reading a book till all night. One of the things to remember with depression is to continue to eat normally, eat regularly, and keep some sort of routine. Maybe as close as possible to your work routine. So, for example, if you need to be up by 7 every morning for work, do the same thing while you're shut at home. Keeping that routine, it actually helps you feel more like normal. We're living in this lifestyle of where we wear masks, we wear gloves, we're limited where we go. It's very easy to just get into that pattern of, you know what, I'm just going to stay in bed all day today. Well, usually when you do those sorts of things, you're going to get depressed. God actually created us to work. you know, when we look at Genesis, what did he do? He set Adam and Eve to work, to plant the fields, to look after the animals, to look after themselves. And that is a huge combatant against depression, feeling down.
That is so good, Dr. Jill Kirschner. I've always loved the way that, not just because she's on Zoom with us, the way that she communicates her faith and following Christ and the word so naturally. We tend to like make it an ordeal or an event or, just the next step or the next line or, whatever. But it's always been refreshing to me to hear her communicate it in a real life way. It's like, oh, that is that. Oh, okay. I can do that.
Yeah.
That is so easy. Dr. Jill Kirschner here. Dan, how long do we have? Do we have time for another question or should we?
Well, at least for this segment, at least we got to go take a break here. We're up against time.
All right, Doc, let's do this. Let's catch up with you in a couple of weeks. We've got more questions for you. And congratulations on your mom, which we saw on Facebook. She celebrated her 60th Mother's Day.
Wow.
Blessings to her, health to her, health to Steve and yourself. And, of course, the entire family, the boys and their kids and wives. Hey, we'll be right back. It is Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
Stay right there.